Man, you look like you was asleep before we came on. Now you want
Nah,
to come
nah.
on and you got energy. Now you
I'm
got all
here.
the energy.
I'm here now, man.
Oh
I'm
my
here.
God! Now you here.
It's the
We had
Yeah.
my
Chinchillas
man waiting
podcast, all
for
about
a
the
minute.
fight
For the
game.
people who
Let's
don't
kick it.
know, for the people who don't
Yeah.
know, we got a
Grab
special
your bite,
guest
some
with us
choice and
today,
choose.
man. We
Remember,
got my
your
man
bets on next month coming
Alexander
on the chin.
El
Yeah.
Toro
Next
Vargas.
MMA.
What's up, everybody? El Toro Alex Vargas, 12-0, professional boxer. You're tuning into Checkerz right now.
Yeah.
What's
What's
up? What's
good,
up?
brother? How's everything, man?
It's been good. Same busy. Happy to be back in the gym. Got a fight date. It's been a while, so I'm excited about that. Everything's been good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man. It
I
was.
see you said it's been a while. The last time was probably like in 2021. You took some
Yeah,
time off.
Oh no, November of 2021. Yeah, it's been that long.
Yeah, man. What you been up to?
Well, I got called for the police academy. You know, once you do that, that's 7 months of training. I got called for that in January. I couldn't get a fight before that because in November I got cut in my last fight pretty bad.
Mm.
So I had to take time off anyways. Then got called for the academy. That was 7 months.
Wow.
And then had to do my training out in the patrol. So that added to it. And then now finally I'm in the clear. Got the date set up, and yeah, it's just been a while. So I'm just happy to be back.
Wow.
We're almost there. How are we doing with weight?
Weight's good. I'm already down to like 162. I think I'm gonna be fighting around like 144, which is easy for me. You know, I was doing 136. I was coming in now. I was coming at 140. So 144 gives me a few pounds to like play with, and that should be no problem for me. 44.
So where do you see yourself campaigning going forward?
Going forward, I think my 135-pound days are done. So I think 140 is good for me. That's I can make it without killing myself.
So let me ask you this. You have a full-time job and you're doing boxing. How hard is it for you to keep up with working and also working out? Because I know it got to be stressful.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's really tough. I knew it going into it, you know, because before I was just fighting. You know, it's easy to get your rest, eat the same times, eat what you had to eat, train 2-3 times a day. Now it's like it's rough mentally, physically. Like the schedule flips. So like one week I'll work 7 to 3, and then the next week I'll work 3 to 11. So getting workouts in before, getting workouts after, trying to get sparring, you know, different hours, get a sparring set up, and then trying to eat, and then getting stuck at work sometimes. It's definitely a lot, and then it's stressful too, because you know the whole job knows I'm fighting. They're all coming.
I think most people that follow you know that you've been doing this since what, you were a kid?
Yeah,
9 years old?
Yeah. I started like in the basement with my dad when I was like 6, and then 9, I think I had my first fight. I didn't have that many amateur fights though.
I saw you in the Golden Gloves, and you actually won fight of the tournament.
Yeah.
Am I bugging?
Yeah, no, I did. That was just a dream of mine, was, you know, going as a little kid to MSG, always watching the finals. So I had actually taken time off, I think from like 9th grade to my senior year, because I was wrestling in high school. So then once I was eligible, I turned 17 to do the gloves. I was like, that's what I'm doing. So I stopped wrestling and then just jumped back into it. And fortunately, it worked out. I took the whole tournament.
Nice.
And yeah, I was confident, but I was like, all right, to win this, you know, it's gonna be tough. You know, especially at 165. That I did not belong in that weight class at all.
So yeah, you were a big boy actually back there.
Yeah, I was coming at like 58, but I was like, it was just I was coming off a football season. I was like, I don't want to cut down so quick. So the dudes I was fighting were like 6'1", 6'2", you know, 28-year-old men. I was like, man, they were hitting hard, but I did it, man. I think just when you have it in your mind, something you want to win for so long, I think that just pushed me through.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up.
I saw you getting in there with a few guys, man. I know you've been in there with Richard Comey, Jihad Tucker. Actually, Jihad Tucker just fought yesterday, had a fucking great performance. Shout out to my guy, man. But
that was impressive.
I kind of felt like a star was born because of the fact that most of the time, especially young fighters, when they get rocked, they don't know how to respond.
Yeah.
And he got rocked in the fucking like first minute of the fight where you saw his legs buckle. Second round came out like a dog. Shout out to my guy, man.
I think it was actually good that he took that shot right away, early on.
Yeah.
Because he felt his hardest shot right away. So right when he got through it, now you know what that guy has, you know? Like sometimes you see these guys get hit and hurt in the first round, and after that, it's like they're walking through the guy's shot because they got hit with their best shot. So I think that actually helped them out, you know, that he pushed through and he was like, all right, I took his best shot now. Now I could back him up and you know, bully him.
Yeah, it takes their heart away when you take their best shot.
Yeah.
Being that you sparred with a bunch of guys.
Yeah.
Have you ever been rocked in sparring?
In sparring, I think maybe not often, to be honest. I think, who was it? I think Richie Comey one time had me. He could punch. That's one of the hardest punches I've been in the ring with, especially for a 35-pounder. He landed that right hand on me, and yeah, he you know, it wasn't like I buckled or anything, but you know, in your mind, like you're like, all right, I gotta move around a little bit, grab on, because if he hits me again, I'm going down. So probably Richie Comey. I'm sure there's been a few other times.
Is it hard even to get sparring right now because of your schedule?
Yeah, the hardest thing is sparring all around because one, I have to find someone to be able to spar around like my schedule. So usually I'd go to Brooklyn, spar Richie Comey, Jihad, Africa, you know, B-Hop, all those guys, and have a ton of work every week set up, you know, 11 a.m. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday in Brooklyn. Now it's like I can't do that unless I'm off. I might take a trip out there, but now I'm keeping it to like the same few guys, like Wendy Toussaint, who's out in Huntington. He's been really helpful working around my schedule. Like I get out at 3, whatever, I'll show up. Peter Lattori, who's a amateur, but he's a really tough amateur, could really punch. I think he's got a bright future as a pro. So I've been keeping it really those two guys right now, and they both could switch because I might fight a southpaw. So I'm just trying to keep it. It's hard, like I said, finding people. So I'm trying to keep it to the same few that could kind of accommodate me, which is great. And also coming off of work, sometimes it's just, you know, I'll have a good day sparring. Like I felt really good yesterday sparring against Wendy. We did 8 rounds. But then like the week before, my legs were a little bit drained from work. I had a long week at work. Right. So it's tough all around. Just depends the week.
Okay.
For the people that don't know, you're a southpaw, right?
Yeah.
I know I watched one of your fights. I think it was with Lawson, who was also a southpaw. Do you have more trouble fighting a right-hander as opposed to fighting a southpaw, being that you're so used to fighting right-handers?
At first I did. Like when I fought Lawson, I was a little bit thrown off, and that was my first pro fight, and he came out swinging. Like it was a brawl, you know.
Good fight.
So I was just like, and then my second fight, I fought another southpaw. Still didn't feel comfortable. Kind of was off that fight, and then I fought another southpaw. I fought like 5. So like by the time I fought like Deshaun Johns, who was undefeated at the time when I fought him, and then Chauncey Grace, who was undefeated when I went to Florida to fight him, I was comfortable fighting southpaws because I'd fought like 4 already. Right. So at that point, so now I'm like, all right, I'll fight a southpaw because I've been in the ring with him. I'm more comfortable now.
I wanted to ask you, you know, who do you like right now? Because we just talked about Jihad Tucker a couple minutes. You obviously watched the fight. You was impressed, but who do you watch right now? Like who do you like to see?
I'm a huge Canelo fan. You know, I'm sure a lot of people say that, but who I really like watching is actually Josh Taylor. I'm a big fan of.
Oh.
Yo, he hates Josh Taylor.
Yeah, I used to hate him. I was not a fan. But then I kept watching him. I'm like, this guy sits in the pocket. Like his last fight wasn't impressive. But when he fought like Prograis and Ramirez and he's just like adapting, but he's down the brawl. Like that's that's a bad dude, you know, like from like Scotland. I'm like,
Right.
that's a guy. And I'm
He's
like,
got little subtleties of the catch encounters that people don't see, but also, like you said, that grittiness to him.
yeah, he's got that grit. I'm like, I don't know. He grew on me. And then I like David Morrell. He's still like got a few fights, but his style and the way he fights, like,
yeah,
I like watching what he does, you know. But I like watching all these fighters and seeing what they do.
Hey man, I know who you like. Let's get into who you don't like. Who would you want to have a collision course with? I know we go gym to gym sparring, man. Who would you want to get in there with?
I've always wanted Cletus Selden, just because I'm signed to like Star Boxing, which is the route we went. Like, just I felt like I saw a lot of tickets here. Like, he'll build you up the right way. So we went with him. He signed the Star. He's fought on like, you know, ESPN and big platforms, stuff like that. And like I said, I never had any problems with him until he came to spar. And when we sparred, the first time we went like 6 rounds, but like he stepped out after the 6th round. And then the next time we sparred, like I stopped him after 4. Oh, going. And I don't like talking about sparring. Like, we know that, we keep that like in the gym, stuff like that. But then word was getting around that he was saying he was beating me up and this and that. So I was like, everyone was coming up to me that he was just saying he hurt me and stuff like that. So I was like, all right, that's ridiculous. Like, I made you quit. I made you quit after 4 rounds. I'm not one to ever talk, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna call him out, because that would be a perfect fight for me, because he was high up in the rankings at that time. I wanted to fight him. So he was saying I wasn't worthy enough, and you know, I didn't fought anybody, but he was fighting guys ranked below me at the time. So I was like, you know, to do that like on the undercard of like a top ranked card at like MSG, and we both sell a lot of tickets. Like, I think it would be like kind of like that step up fight for me that could really put my name out there, where I'll go on like ESPN, something like that. So I've been wanting that fight. I don't think he's gonna ever take it. You know, I've been trying, but it's one of those, like, once he stepped in the ring, it was like, all right, I'm not gonna fight him, because he didn't even come. He was getting ready for Zab Judah, and then he didn't even come back to spar me after the 2nd time. Like, I stopped him both times, and it was just, you know, that's really the main guy. There's a lot of guys out there, but I've been on a layoff. I think that's the one that makes sense. So after being on layoff, I don't want to be like, you know, calling out these active guys. Like, they've been putting in the work. I got to kind of earn it again to get back in there. And then, you know, because I've been in the ring with a lot of these guys on TV, and I know what I could do.
So you spoke about Canelo. You spoke about Morrell. Right now, we got the Mexican monster out there. I got to ask you your opinion, man.
Forgot about it.
Mexican monster went out there. In my eyes, that was such an impressive performance on where he did the plan, even though he wasn't able to get the knockout. Yeah. Where are you going if he was actually the fight, Canelo? Canelo, David Benavidez, one of the biggest fights in boxing. How do you see that playing out?
Honestly, I'm a big fan of Benavidez and Canelo. I think Benavidez would take that fight. I think he's huge for that. He's huge.
Yes.
And then I think Caleb Plant made it the distance because I think Kenny Bayless was kind of like he was allowing him to hold and stuff. I think that gave him a lot of time where Benavidez couldn't really put on the pressure, you know. I think that holding saved him. If not, I think he was going to stop Caleb Plant. And I think with the beef they had, I think Benavidez was a little bit tight at first, you know. But if he's like loose and having fun like normal David Benavidez, like he was towards the second half of the fight, I think he gives Canelo big problems, because the guy has a chin and everything, you know. And I think he steps up when it's a bigger fight. You know, people talk about Gavril knocking him down, like, you know, you step up to your competition a lot of the time. A lot of the time, like, these awkward guys give you more trouble. So I think he gets in there.
He's definitely a flawed fighter, but his heart, his toughness, it makes fighters that should have more technical skills than him capitalize off of it, but they can't, because he's literally a monster. He's just
he doesn't
on
stop.
top of you. Yeah,
he's quick. He's strong. He's fun to watch. I'm a big fan.
No, he absolutely is. And one of the things that I mentioned before was the fact that he actually is bigger than Bivol in size. So I don't think Canelo would take that fight because it would be a good fight. But I like you said, I think Benavidez is a little too much because he's a big boy.
Yeah, he's just I think Canelo wouldn't take it just I think Canelo really would fight anybody, but I think that guy's just way too big for him. Like you said, Bivol was big and you saw it when they fought. Now you get Benavidez who's even bigger.
Yeah.
And he's not gonna stop pressing you. Yeah, I don't think he takes that fight.
That's one fight I'm looking forward to. There's another fight I'm looking forward to. I wanted to get into predictions, man. We got another one coming up this month. One of the biggest fights we had in a while, even though it's no belt on it. Tank versus Garcia, man.
Yeah.
What you think?
I got Tank. I think Garcia, if he has a chance, is putting him out early, because he does have that power. He does have that check hook.
Yeah.
But I think once Tank gets on his game and gets into his groove, I think he's gonna stop him late. But I do think Ryan can punch and has that speed to put him out early. Like I called the same thing with like Comey and Teofimo when they fought. I was like, I think if Comey took him into later rounds, I think it was gonna be really tough with that power and he's gonna wear Teofimo down. But I was like, if Teofimo could get him out of there quick.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Ryan Garcia has to do. I don't see him lasting later on as Tank gets going, and I just don't see it.
So one of the main weapons we see with Ryan, I mean, it's pretty much his money punch. Tall, rangy guy, super fast hands, but his money punch is that check left hook. You being a southpaw, do you see that being a problem for a Tank? Because usually with the southpaw right hand dynamic, it's actually not really a easy punch to land.
Yeah, the check hook, I think I love it. I love throwing it against righties. Because then, like, right over the jab. And then, but when someone uses it on me, it makes me really hesitant going in. Because it's such a dangerous shot. That hits you right behind the ear. And, you could get a little wobbly, So I think they're both going to be – I think Tank's going to be a little hesitant at first because of that check hook. Especially being the shorter fighter.
Yeah.
Garcia's going to be punching down, and that's a really dangerous shot. And like I said, I'm more worried about someone with a check hook than the right hand, because we're so used to, me throwing the left hand and someone trying to land the right hand. But that check hook, you're trying to get in there and someone's throwing that, it's a dangerous shot.
Yeah, I kind of felt like that fight would kind of play out like the fight that Tank had with Romero, just because, Ryan does have power, like you said. He has power, so he's not going to try and go in there and get him out. Yeah. He's going to fight smart. He's going to fight cautious, and probably try to counterpunch him.
Yeah, and I think Tank's going to be much sharper. I think Romero is very difficult to fight. I think he's another big 35-pounder that can punch. Very awkward. So Tank was having trouble figuring him out. I think Garcia, who's not as big and won't press the action as much as someone like Romero, I think Tank will be able to settle in quicker, because Tank was definitely uncomfortable against Romero. You could tell.
Yeah.
Yo, Alex, man, we appreciate you for coming on with us, man. We do know you have a fight coming up. Let everyone know when's the fight date and where they could get their tickets at.
Yeah, fight date's May 13th at the Paramount. Selling a lot of tickets, so now you got to go through Ticketmaster, use code Vargas. I can unlock my tickets. And we're close to locking in on an opponent. We had one, and then apparently he's kind of pulling out now.
No.
So hopefully that doesn't happen. But we'll see.
So before you leave, though, what does that do for your psyche when you're preparing for one type of fighter and now you don't have an idea of who your opponent is?
Right now, to be honest, I'm just in such a good headspace fighting. I think for most of my fights, I just had so much going on outside the ring. The process for this job was a year long. I was dealing with that while fighting, had other things going on. I think I never really got to have fun in there. I know what I'm capable of. I've sparred the best in the world, and I just haven't looked as good as I can in most of my fights as a pro. So right now I just feel so comfortable. I feel like I'm having fun again fighting. you know, and that's when I fight my best. So right now I'm feeling good in the gym. So whoever it is, like I'm prepared for. But yeah, you like to know who you're fighting just for just have peace of mind, you know, like, no, all right, we got to fight. It's signed, not this whole like, yeah, they're going to take the fight. And then 2 weeks later, it's like, oh, they're not signing a contract. So we'll see. I'm ready though. So I'm really not worried. We still have 6 weeks to get an opponent.
Okay. And before we go, I just want to give you an extra shout out because I see that Giants throw on the couch in the background. I appreciate that.
Big Giants fan. I was so happy the way last year went. Like, it wasn't expected. So I just see them getting better from here on out.
Are you a Daniel Jones fan?
Yeah, I believed in him since day one. I believed in him since day one. I was like, just give him some time. I think he never had like a steady coach, you know. It was constantly new coach, new coordinator, this, that, no line. I was like, he earned it last year, you know. So hopefully he keeps it up. But I'm a believer.
See, my guy Saquon, man, I absolutely he's become my favorite player, like damn near of all time. My favorite was Eli, but I slowly transitioned to going that Saquon is just unbelievable. What he does is like unrealistic in the way he moves, no line. But last year, we had absolutely no offensive weapons, man. Everyone dropped the ball. So
that's what I'm saying. They were good with no receivers. Like they didn't have one receiver that would start on like another team, you know?
Actually, we picked off someone that got cut from the Bills, which is crazy. So I just came out there and did his thing. I can't. This is actually my favorite time of the year. I don't know why I do this. I guess it's from years growing up and playing Madden. I start scouting players as if I'm the fucking GM.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It's the same thing.
I don't know why I do it, man. And then when they pick a person that I'm totally unfamiliar with, I scream that first thing, like, this guy's a bum. And I'll be having no clue.
Yeah.
Yo, Vargas, man, appreciate you jumping on with us, man.
Yeah,
thank you guys for
having me. Get out of here, man. Yo,